Absolutely.
CNN reporter says the N-word in the context of a story, and it's news.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is it news?
Because there's nothing else to talk about.
In person.
In person, right. This is how it went down.
In person.
So he didn't say the euphemism N-word
He went
like
with
a
it.
baby boy.
Right.
No.
At the end of this, Daryl Dedman is laughing with his friends and actually called on a cell phone and, pardon my language, but there's no other way to say this, said, I just ran over that effing nigger. That's what he said. And it was a clear-cut case of pure racial intent murder that took place there.
Wow. Good for him.
Well.
Yeah. Good for him. You're the news.
Was he actually doing the story, or he was just talking? Just
And the
having
thing, the problem what you couldn't see is he looked at the camera after he said nigger and he gave a Norman Fell smile. He gave a Mr. Roper smile, and that's how they knew that like there's something wrong with this place.
So why is that news? That he said it.
Because he actually said it.
They have nothing else to talk
Yeah,
about.
but where's that story where it's news? That's how he used it, obviously. But now people have a problem that he actually used the word, I guess.
It's on every website today. That clip is on every
Is it?
every news.
Sure.
Or
It's news.
Political website.
A man said something.
Yeah.
That's what dickheads Americans are.
Yeah.
What's going on? A man said something. Who? I've never heard of him.
Why are we giving away our freedom of speech?
We're
It's
dummies.
crazy.
We're dumb.
Why are we doing
We
this?
love it.
Why are we doing this
And where
in
are the civil
America?
libertarians? Where are all these phony civil libertarians? And I'm calling you guys phonies because you're obsessed with airport security. And where the fuck are you on this issue? Where are you?
Look, if you choose to just say the N-word, that's fine. But I have no problem with this guy actually saying the word, especially in the context of a news story. My God.
If that's what the guy said and he's just quoting it,
right,
then it's fine to say it. It's saying N-word all the time just comes off as infantile.
So America has no problem just giving away the freedom of speech thing, huh?
Yeah,
So
we
weird.
love it. We just love giving away the freedom of speech. And people just give it away and don't even know they're giving it away. No, it's better this way. Oh, really? Because you were offended by what you heard, and before you know it, they're going to take away something that you said or enjoy listening to.
The hardest thing to do is support someone that you don't like when it comes to freedom of speech. And I know that. I get it. I think we've all gone through that in our lives. But you got to look past that. You just have to look past it. I remember the old days when maybe a radio guy got in trouble or something. And I'll admit it. It's like, yeah, fuck him. And I'm glad they're, fucking him over. But then you got to realize that in the end, like we just said, it will come back to bite you in the ass and hurt you. So it's really hard.
Yep.
A lot of people probably like, yeah, get that fat blowhard off the air, Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, it's easy to say that.
It's easy to say that because you don't like him.
Right.
But it will hurt you in the end. Yep. It's really tough to support a guy you don't agree with.
Yeah. Because
but you have to.
Yeah, because eventually it's going to come around to something you like.
Absolutely.
And you'll be like, oh, well, wait a minute. No, I like that. So you can't take it away. Yeah, really? Mm-hmm. Watch. And then you get the diversity people out in L.A. that don't understand that that's the opposite of diversity, silencing other people's views. And,
I mean, we're
twisted.
We're obsessed with the Amish thing, but when it was mostly black radio stations, we're so excited that Amish was getting in all that trouble.
Yep.
I wanted to talk to those guys and go, what are you doing? They're going to go after you next, you dopes.
Yeah, you're hanging yourself.
It probably pains you, obviously, to support Amish, but you have to. You have to in the end.
Yeah, support me. I do.
I wonder how many of those guys are still in the air, because I bet you, it hurt them.
Yeah.
And their companies probably said, oh, boy, we can't go edgy anymore. So these guys that were laughing and thinking it was great that Imus was getting fired and whatnot,
yeah,
I wonder where they are now, if they even have their jobs.
Mm-hmm. Ridiculous.
Anyway. George Zimmerman.
The Zimmeister.
Good old George Zimmerman. What's going on there in Florida?
Georgie Zim.
I hear there's a problem.
Well,
what's the latest on that?
The tapes are coming out that he was throwing around some racial epithets.
Oh, was he?
Some racial epithets.
We got the 911
I wonder
call?
if they're going to leave them out the way they did when the guys were set on fire. Oh, that's right.
Oh, right. They
won't.
Right. They won't.
That's right. They won't leave out these racial epithets, but when they set the kid on fire, oh, that's right.
By the way, the news wants this guy to be white so bad.
I know, but he's not.
He's so Hispanic. Apparently, I guess he's of a mixed racial background, hence the Zimmerman name.
Yeah, Mr. Zimmerman! Mr. Zimmerman! Then you drop in you chop your own hand off with a fucking hatchet.
All right.
That's the guy Doc was talking to in Alcatraz. Mr. Zimmerman. Little plunk of those fingers.
Hey, someone is begging me to read the last two sentences of the Bill Maher op piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just read it. Yeah, I guess it's worth. You should go search this out and read the whole thing for yourself. It says, I don't want to live in a country where no one ever says anything that offends anyone. That's why we have Canada. That's not us. If we sand down our rough edges and drain all the color, emotion, and spontaneity out of our discourse, we'll end up with political candidates who never say anything but the safest, blandest, emptiest, most unctuous, focus grouped platitudes and can't. In other
Fucking
words,
Canadians.
we'll get Mitt Romney.
Exactly.
Then Bill Maher had to kind of make it a little political.
Yeah,
thing,
I mean, he told a joke, yeah.
Yeah, but there you go.
Yeah.
I think you should
go.
apologize to Mitt Romney for that.
Yeah. He needs to apologize.
But he's completely right.
Yeah, bravo. But we're just giving it away. No problem.
Yeah.
The masses are giving it away.
This need for this apology thing, this need to tell people you're not allowed to say that, it's insensitive, and then just giving up what amounts to your freedom of speech is I can't fathom how people just want to do that.
Most people it doesn't affect, like the average guy. You're out there, you work in sales or something, or whatever you do. You don't have to deal with it this much, but it's going to come. It comes and creeps in. Like for the mechanics that can't hang up a picture of a girl, it's not even naked, like a calendar,
right?
Because it's considered sexual harassment. Like,
yeah,
it's the same nonsensical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And the sales guy, you say the wrong thing in the office, even if it's a lighthearted. I'm not talking about where you look at a girl and go, "Great tits,"
right?
But if you just make some offhanded light remark, whoa, or for all the people that fucking try to hang a flag in their office and are told you can't because you might offend somebody.
Yeah,
we're being sanitized. People just don't see how it's creeping into every aspect of your socializing, and your work is being affected by this.
Yeah, I think they do realize, but for some weird reason, the minority has really got a lot of power for some reason.
Yeah.
Unless in our worlds, we just don't run into these fucking goody two shoes.
Most of them, when you talk to them one-on-one,
I think our audience is annoyed, obviously, and they don't want this shit.
But they're not annoyed to do anything, by and large. They don't. If we get thrown off the air, like that one guy said, like the other guy called in, he was honest.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it goes away.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Where was Rush's audience? Maybe some of them stuck up for him. But he's on 600 stations.
Yeah.
There wasn't a national outcry.
No.
Nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah,
No,
right.
well, that's why you got to get involved somehow, I guess, right? Because, yeah, if we do go away, they're going to replace it with something that's pretty fucking lame.
Yep.
I could guarantee that.
But
that's where it affects people.
Our audience would care, but they wouldn't care that much.
Yeah,
I don't ever overrate myself.
No.
No, I think you're right.
Because to most of the audience, it's like, all right, they're on. It's kind of, I enjoy it, but it's not anything I'd work for.
But when it affects them, they care.
Yeah.
Like when the guy who works in the auto dealership, where he's on the fucking production line, tells a bit of an off-color joke, and somebody overhears it and goes to a supervisor, and he's accused of being a racist, then he fucking cares. Right. He's like, what the fuck? But it's like, you dumbbell, this ball has been rolling downhill for a long time, and you just stood there and watched because you didn't think it affected you.
Yeah.
Good question coming in. Jeff in Pennsylvania. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Opie, how are you?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, you're a student of radio. I mean, when did the actual downturn of radio begin? I mean, we all listen to Stern, most of you guys for years. I mean, when did it actually start happening?
Well, when I first started radio, which was a long time ago, sales were looked at as a fucking joke. It was like, shut up, don't tell us how to program. Right. And then somewhere along the line, the sales manager became as powerful as the program director.
Yeah.
So, and that happened really slowly. So then they had a voice in what the programming was all about. And then the Imus situation just threw it completely over the fucking top. And then the FCC raising the individual fines really killed everything.
Janet Jackson hurt, even though that wasn't radio, because the FCC, like Opie said, raised the fines.
Right. I mean, it was happening slowly, but then the catalyst was absolutely the Super Bowl thing with Janet Jackson and the Imus thing. And when did when did they up the fines at the FCC?
That was for Janet Jackson.
So
that
it went from what, 35
to $350 per offense.
So there's your answer. When when you're being threatened with a $35,000 fine, most radio companies would fucking laugh at that. And you kind of like behind the scenes, they go, look, we're going to fucking pay that, no problem, because we're making so much more money than you guys, the ratings. It's what did they say? It was the price of doing business.
Cost of doing business.
And then they made it into $350,000
per occurrence.
Per occurrence. No radio company could handle that.
Per occurrence per station.
So if you go out, right? So if you go out, if you say something, if you slip and say fuck or twat or whatever is an offense, and it goes out over 12 stations, that's fucking $3.5 million plus 2 more. That's like $4.2 million.
I hope that answers your question. But when they raised the FCC fines, fucking game over, man. No one was willing to take that risk. When Howard was doing his shit and we certainly got in our trouble, they laughed at it behind the scenes.
Now, has anybody actually paid that fine since it was elevated?
That's a good question.
Has any station?
No, because they fucking shut everyone down immediately.
But still,
Opie,
you'd think they'd be fine. Somebody.
The FCC commissioners doing that, or is that the president at the time who basically, obviously is overseeing the FCC?
Well, that's a good question. How does the fine?
It comes from the fucking commissioners, but it shit rolls downhill.
Right.
And what is the tone of the administration?
Right.
Is kind of, it's almost like when Obama's in office, you don't see as much anti-porn crusading. You see some, but not as much, because that's not the tone.
Yeah.
And this is more...
Unfortunately.
Yeah, well, please, your lips to God's ears.
Porno.
The tone of the administration, I think, sets the tone of the FCC at the time.
And Jimmy's right. I think the Janet Jackson had a lot to do with it, because we had a 2-year period, 2 years, 3 months, where we weren't... No, even longer, because we had to go back to satellite for a little bit. So we were off regular radio probably a total of 3 years, and when we got back there, we saw a major fucking difference. Yeah. And that had to be because of the Janet Jackson thing. Yeah. It had to be. The language was all fucked up.
Everyone got all scared. They were all scared.
Yeah. So,
and the same things that allowed people to get paid so much money from syndication also hurt it. Because I still do shows on the road, dude, where I'm doing like a one-market show. And they're like worried about profanity, but they're not paranoid about every single thing you say. I'm like, you could say this? Like, I'm overcautious.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the syndicated shows who have a lot more to lose because there's a lot more eyes on them.
Then something was told to me and Ann a long time ago. Like,
you suck.
Yeah, you suck.
Get out of the business. Don't hire that fucking third wheel.
There's something to be said about being under the radar. I'm sure there's radio shows out there that are under the radar, so they're getting away with a little more. And then someone went to us one day and said, consider yourself lucky that you're still under the radar, and that's why you're getting away with some of the shit you are.
Well,
as soon as you get on that fucking radar, forget it. That's a whole different ballgame, too.
The lawyers want to meet with you.
Yeah. So, does that sort of answer your question?
Absolutely. Yeah,
there's a bunch of moving parts there, obviously. I mean, the language got extremely strict after the Imus thing.
Yeah.
But the fines certainly really fucking hurt. And like Jimmy said, it was per market.
Yeah.
So if you're a syndicated show in 20 fucking cities, that's 350,000 times 20. That's how the FCC looked at it. So they shut down radio, basically. They were the ones that said, fuck this.
Let's say Rush said, fuck you on the radio. Something so extreme that you couldn't argue it. And it was an anger thing.
Fuck you!
Fuck you!
Right.
He's got 600 stations.
Long are those, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was going to say, how long does that... how long until that hits you guys on XM, that extreme mentality? I know you're already getting shit, but how long until the extremity?
We used to do edgier stuff on regular radio, so it's already affected us. Thank God we've been able to adjust. Right. But as far as the language and shit, Jimmy doesn't think it's going to hit us anytime soon. No. I'm a little suspicious. I wonder.
It's special interest will hit us.
I think we got some room here, but I think eventually they're going to try to fucking do some things here as well.
Special interest would hit us like.
Yeah, not the company itself, but special interests and all that.
Would come after, would try to silence offensive things. But as far as FCC and fines, it has not hit HBO. It has not hit Showtime.
Right.
And regular, no one is trying to fine any cable. They self-police for the advertisers, but I don't think that will happen. There's just a pay service is really hard to touch.
But the company itself has shut down a shitload of our material.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Which you could absolutely still do. But for whatever reason, we just lose the argument every time.
I like the fact that some of the basic cable channels like FX and stuff like that aren't paying as much attention to what the advertisers might be upset about, because they never used to even curse on there. Now you're hearing shit, and it's not like, they're cursing. It just adds a realism to its show when, you got cops actually talking and cursing using real language,
Right.
and real circumstances and things like that. It's not as phony.
Because things like HBO and Showtime became so far and away better,
Yes,
and more realistic dramas than what was on TV began to look cartoonish and fucking soap opera-ish and childish. They had to do something, and thank God fucking cable is doing something. Networks are still good at doing stuff like Lost. Like concept shows where you really don't need as much language freedom.
and they got a lot of money behind them.
And they can spend it. But Lost was a great show and an interesting concept where you didn't need to show nudity and you really didn't need profanity to make that story better. But for cop dramas and stuff, it's just they stink on TV.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like back when I started radio with the advertisers, like I said earlier, they didn't have a voice at all. But I don't understand that.
Yeah,
because they're paying the radio station to have their ads on, but back then you were able to just tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah,
shut up.
Fuck you. Somebody else will come aboard.
We support our morning guy or our afternoon drive guys and tough shit, but not anymore.
No, now we literally have to blow Steven Singer.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
I wonder if that's because the corporate umbrella, like it's not just that one product or that
exactly
one company. It's also owned by the bigger company that owns all this, so all this could be affected.
It's like, aren't we a radio company? Yes, but we also sell detergent, and the housewives buy our detergent.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are you in the detergent radio business?
They just didn't have a voice back then, which I guess looking back, I find a little strange.
When you actually saw the owner of the station, would come in to the station, and it was like, oh, okay, that's the guy that really makes the decisions, and if he enjoys what's on the air and knows it's doing well, he'll tell the sponsor to go fuck off, or he'll tell, an interest group to fuck off. But now it's like we always goof about, there's no one's accountable or responsible. You ask one of these guys who said that or who made that decision or where did that come from. Well, it's a conglomerate of people upstairs. It's like this mysterious fucking room where there's some kind of Star Trek alien fog that makes the decision.
We have an upstairs here. Yeah. I don't know what goes on up there.
I don't either.
I don't want to know what goes on.
Let's bang on the ceiling with a broom.
It's better that way.
Get their attention.
I'll tell you this much. At the end of our WNEW run, all we had to worry about on the radio was following FCC regulations for the most part. It started creeping in right at the end there, but just a little, but we could handle it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
then when we got back to radio, it's like, whoa, what? We have to worry about all this other shit? What happened to just worrying about the FCC rules?
Yeah.
And that's where it got confusing.
It just became something totally different where the radio station went further than the FCC rules.
Right. And that
what? For what? Why?
And I blame the lawyers they hired.
Yep.
That's it.
The lawyers were supposed to keep everyone safe and make sure they didn't get an FCC fine. So why did we weren't allowed to say boobies on the radio anymore, or we weren't allowed to actually have a fart on the radio anymore?
Oh God, that's right.
We weren't even allowed to fart on the radio anymore, and that had nothing to do with the FCC.
That's scatological humor.
They were bodily fluids and fucking scatological.
We were never going to get a fine for farting on the radio, but these lawyers insisted that we had to follow this shit. It was just mind-boggling.
A fucking joke, isn't it?
So I guess I hope that answers some of that shit, Jeff. It's still a very gray area.
Yeah.
We could have said
taking my call.
We could have said something today. We have no idea.
Yeah.
That could be the front page on a bunch of these blogs, and we could be in deep trouble. Like the homeless Charlie thing. We didn't think that shit was going to be nothing.
No. Why would you?
Well, it shouldn't have been nothing.
Right.
And if Elo did defend us completely, we never should have gotten any trouble for that.
No,
at all.
That was
at
the
all.
fucking douchebag that was in charge.
And they're still afraid of that clip.
Yeah.
Gives a fuck.
I know.
Yeah,
right?
we want to just replay it.
It's funny. I listened to it recently. I encourage you to search it out. It's funny.
I howl every time I hear it.
Yeah, that Bush bitch. He's just fucking angry.
It's such a goof. It's like,
homeless
come on.
dude.
Come on, take it in the fucking spirit it was delivered.
We were excited. We thought we found a new character.
Yeah,
we should have.
did.
And we haven't seen him since, so I'm convinced the government might have taken him out.
Yeah.
We've never seen him again.
Yeah, I heard a black van pulled up and they threw him in.
That was it.
Screeched away, and that was it.
Oh my God! I would love to know what happened to him.
Experimented on him.
I would love to know.
You cut out his brain, you bloody baboons!
He was a homeless guy that was a huge fan of the show.
And funny, man.
And funny.
How could he be a fan of the show and homeless?
Because he was on K-Rock, he would listen back then. He had regular radio.
He had a radio.
Yeah,
walked around with his
an old
fucking
radio.
Yeah.
Boom,
boom,
Yeah, I know
boom,
who you are, man. He was really a funny guy.
His delivery was
Bill
great.
Burr was in studio that day. I heard that recently.
Was he?
Yeah, I've heard it recently.
I haven't heard it in a while.
Hey, the motherfucking Jews, he was killing everybody. Everybody he was bashing.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
We were stupid, I guess, because we just assumed, look, the
Work.
guy's a lunafucking tick.
Yeah.
And who's going to, take this seriously?
Well, it was during the
These
merger.
asshole blogs. Fuck. That's him?
Yeah,
Oh, is that him?
I think so.
Wait, Troy found him?
Troy took a picture. He's around all the time. I see him every day almost. But Troy took a picture of this homeless
Where do you
guy.
see him?
He's around here.
I think that's him.
Yeah, Troy took a picture of this homeless guy. I don't think he knew it was Homeless Charlie, though,
It looks like
on
it.
his Instagram.
Oh, is it? Wow,
It
fuck.
kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
Look at his
With a
fucking
longer
Brillo
beard.
beard.
I see him in this area, like, at least once a
Well,
week.
ask him next time.
Oh, you
Or are
want
you
me to-
homeless Charlie?
I like
I'm
his-
sure he is. I
well,
know he
his
is.
sign, his sign kind of tips it off that it's.
Need money for beard, drugs, hooker. Hey, at least
Now how
I'm
does
not
this,
bullshitting
I'm
you.
not bullshitting you.
Now let me ask you this: how does this work? We found homeless Charlie. Looks like he's around this building.
Yeah, he's around all the time.
So
Bring him up for
are
an
we
interview.
allowed to have him on the show again?
How can we not?
They're panicking right now. Ah!
How can we not?
I know what I'm saying to them. We should absolutely be able to have him on.
Yes.
That's a good question, Jimmy. But you watch what comes back to us. Go ask.
I
Are
know.
we allowed to have homeless Charlie
Oh
on again?
shit! Go ask. Come on.
We found the guy.
Chop, chop, Sam. Chop, chop.
We think he could help the radio show. He's a funny guy.
Oh,
Are we
he-
allowed?
He runs like a fucking cartoon character.
Yeah.
His
weird.
feet are sticking out.
Clown
He's
shoes.
so. What is it called? It's not pigeon-toed. It's the
Untalented?
opposite. Oh. What is he called? Half a.
Are you trying to say he needed those bars? That bar when he was growing up?
He needed that thing where they strap your feet together and you got to crawl around.
I think my poor brother had that.
Really?
Yeah.
Just slap a snowboard on it.
I know.
He'll look cool. He just snowboards everywhere, even in the summer.
Oh, what a great idea. Just put wheels on a snowboard. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, Don Martin footed. That's it. Steve from Bayshore. Yeah.
Well, we'll get the answers to the homeless Charlie thing after the break because we got